Dinosaurs. They're undeniably amazing, and their many shapes and sizes can sometimes make modern animals seem kind of bland. But they are also undeniably weird, and many of the most famous dinosaurs had characteristics that are hard to imagine. Take Spinosaurus, for example, who had a giant sail on its back that was taller than the average NBA player. Or look at Stegosaurus, with its plate-like structures running along its back. Clearly, dinosaurs could be quite weird, but it's this weirdness itself that has given many of them their everlasting fame. However, because there are currently over 700 valid dinosaur species and counting, it can be quite hard to keep up with them all. So naturally, you probably aren't aware of some of the more obscure terrible lizards, and this is a darn shame, since these obscure dinos are sometimes the strangest of the bunch. Take Linhenykus, for example, a relatively unknown theropod that lived in China during the late Cretaceous. In overall appearance, it was quite generic, and like some other theropods, it too had rather odd and funny-looking arms. Yet, its situation was much more severe than anything seen elsewhere, and to date, it remains the only dinosaur known to have had a single second digit. On top of this, of all known Alvarezsaurs, the family to which Linhenykus belongs, Linhenykus holds the title of having the most reduced digit. This digit, or claw, was attached to a ridiculously tiny arm, essentially transforming Linhenykus into an animal with teeny tiny tools for all four limbs. This puts the rest of the theropod group to shame, who are well known for sometimes having small arms, but not this small. So, at this point, you should probably be feeling better for the T-Rex or Carnotaurus, who are usually the main victims of arm jokes. Linhenykus's rather unique arms have obviously generated a lot of talk about what their purpose was. Originally, one of the main ideas was that they had no real use and were basically vestigial. However, more recent research and cross-analysis of its closest relatives have revealed that their arms were actually likely their main tools. This is because, like many others within its family, Linhenykus was an insectivore, a thought further supported by its dentition, which consisted of small, needle-like teeth. In order to round up these insects, it is believed that it used its arms as built-in diggers that could claw through ant and termite nests, in a fashion similar to what is seen in modern-day ant-eaters. And it seems to have worked out well for Linhenykus, whose fossils span for 4 million years, specifically from 75 to 71 million years ago. Dinosaurs wouldn't be the only extreme that developed, or rather had developed, as nearly 90 million years before it, during the Middle Jurassic, there was a dinosaur prowling around that had the opposite problem: freakishly long hands. This was Epidexipteryx. Now, you're most likely familiar with the Dinosaurs, a family of theropods who are famous for possessing extremely long claws. But Epidexipteryx was neither a therizinosaur nor a dinosaur with long claws. Instead, it was the fingers themselves that were elongated, giving it somewhat the resemblance of a weird internet meme character. However, this dinosaur wasn't an old meme. It was a maniraptoran, meaning it was more closely related to birds than to ornithomimids. Its size was also closer to what is seen in birds and other non-avian dinosaurs, as like the Linhenykus, it was very small. In fact, Epidexipteryx is among the smallest known dinosaurs, with fully grown adults no bigger than a very small pigeon, which is quite a far cry from the norms, considering that the average dinosaur was equal in weight to a small African elephant. Given this small size and its relation to birds, you might be thinking that the long fingers had something to do with wings. After all, animals like Parasaurolophus and birds would have had strange-looking arms if they didn't actually turn into wings. However, while some of its relatives did have wings, specimens of Epidexipteryx actually seem to suggest that it didn't have wing feathers nor a wing membrane, meaning that the weird fingers were possibly on full display. While it probably didn't have wings, it does seem that the fingers did have something to do with flight after all, or at least what comes a few steps before it. Paleontologists currently believe that Epidexipteryx used its long fingers to grip vertical objects while climbing, leading to a highly arboreal lifestyle. This climbing adaptation would have let this maniraptoran safely anchor itself without much effort, allowing it to feast on a variety of tree-based organisms such as small insects, worms, and larvae. Along with climbing, the fingers may have also been used to pry bark off, exposing the contents underneath. Add on to this, its lifestyle in the trees was further aided by teeth that were quite weird in themselves, since they were located only in the front portion of the jaw and were fairly straight and narrow, letting Epidexipteryx pick at its prey with pinpoint precision. But the weirdness didn't end here. On the end of its body, it had a few long feathers, which were rather primitive in nature, resulting in their structure being ribbon-like. Of all things, seeing this creature at night or just unexpectedly would have been quite the shock, despite it not being a massive threat. But even it probably wasn't as weird as the next dinosaur, the Linhenykus. Bluntly, there is a chance that this dinosaur was partially aquatic and a carnivore that hunted prey. That's a lot to break down, so perhaps it's best to start at the beginning with its discovery. Like Linhenykus and Epidexipteryx, this odd dinosaur was found in China and is believed to have lived during the early Cretaceous. Since the holotype was first retrieved, over 20 specimens of this creature have been recovered, some of which were found in pristine condition, allowing paleontologists to deduce that it was likely an ankylosaur, as it possessed dental and skeletal features only seen in other ankylosaurs. However, scientists were also quick to realize that a few things about this new genus were far from the norm, including the fact that a certain specimen had fish and lizard contents within its stomach. This completely perplexed everyone and led to further research, which only revealed even more unusual findings, including fork-like tentacles on top of its teeth and rather sharp claws, making its founder more confident that it was at least partially carnivorous. These paleontologists would also make the bold claim that not only did it have a taste for blood, but that it also had a knack for an aquatic lifestyle. This hypothesis stemmed from what could have been a bony plate that covered the underside of its body, thus offering protection from underneath attacks while swimming. Additionally, a lack of fusion between its hips and spine was further proposed to be a result of an aquatic lifestyle, as it would have allowed more flexible leg kicking. Of course, such a claim has been met with a lot of skepticism, with the main counterpoints being that its so-called underplate didn't exist, and the lack of fusion wasn't an aquatic adaptation, but rather a byproduct of the specimens actually representing juveniles, as every skeleton was very small, being no more than 1.5 feet, half a meter long. Yet, those who still think it might have been aquatic maintain that the 1 foot or half-meter specimens were adults, while the even smaller specimens that were shorter than a ruler were the babies. Regardless of its preferred habitat, this dinosaur was still quite odd and still holds the distinction of being the first member of the Insutanosaurus group to possess a tail club, while also being the oldest known member of the Insutanosaur family. Hopefully, as more remains are unearthed, we can finally figure out if this little dinosaur was a swimmer or not. Another relatively unknown and equally strange dinosaur that has nearly as much debate surrounding it is the Chilesaurus. This was a genus of herbivorous dinosaur that lived during the late Jurassic period and resided within what is today Chile. This quote-unquote nationality ultimately led to its name. However, a more suitable name might have been Chimerasaurus, because while it wasn't a combination of mammals and reptiles like the fictional chimera usually is, it was a mashup of dinosaurs. Specifically, research on its remains revealed that it had traits that are classically associated with both theropods, sauropods, and ornithischians, a 3-for-1 combo, so to speak. Despite its seemingly mixed heritage, Chilesaurus superficially resembled a theropod the most, which led to it originally being placed within a basal position in the theropod group. However, its strange features could not be ignored, which included sauropod-like limbs and an ornithischian-like hip, which was oddly similar to the hip of a stegosaurus. This mix of features caused quite a bit of confusion during its original discovery, and for a time, paleontologists first thought they had discovered 3 separate dinosaurs. Additionally, because the hip was extremely similar to what was seen in stegosaurs, some recent cladograms have suggested that this dinosaur wasn't a theropod at all, but rather some kind of strange ornithischian. In regards to its similarities to sauropods, paleontologists currently think that convergent evolution is the answer, as its limbs appear to have been its main defense. They were relatively strong for their size and equipped with an extendable large claw that could have slashed at predators or competitors. But the strangeness didn't stop there, as its teeth were quite odd too, being elongated, spatula-shaped, and pointing forward. This is interesting, because this dentition is really only seen in a select few dinosaurs and suggests a highly herbivorous lifestyle. Beyond its odd blend of dinosaur traits, Chilesaurus was a smaller dinosaur for its time, measuring only 3 meters, 10 feet from head to tail, and weighing around 200 pounds at its largest. This enigmatic creature has definitely confused a lot of people, but sometimes you can also be confused by simply the fact that these strange dinosaurs are still part of this amazing history, a story that we are just beginning to uncover. Outward appearances, which are best showcased by Yi, may funny enough make you think of a bird. A relative of this theropod, Epidexipteryx, was already mentioned, and similar to its relative, Yi also had long hands. However, unlike Epidexipteryx, Yi's strange long hands seem to have supported a wing membrane. This, in addition to evidence that indicates heavy feathering, may give you a mental image of an animal that would have looked a lot like a bird. But Yi looked like no bird you've ever seen, and its wings were unlike anything we know of, bearing more similarity to the wings of a certain flying mammal, bats specifically. A modified wrist bone and a peculiar membrane structure both pointed to wings that were leathery and featherless, which along with its overall appearance made it look a bit like a certain fictional creature, leading to some nicknaming Yi the dragon dinosaur. Though despite having a pair of wings, Yi was no flyer, which is a result of it lacking attachment points for large enough muscles to support powered flight. Instead, its hard-to-miss wings were used to glide around, similar to how flying squirrels travel through the air. Like Epidexipteryx and other members of its family, Yi lived a life in the trees, where it hunted insects among the vast forests of late Jurassic China, which at this point we can pretty much say was seemingly a place with a large amount of strange dinosaurs. The uniqueness of its wings definitely played a role in its initial success of occupying such a specific niche. Except, it also ended up being likely the culprit behind its swift downfall, as it coexisted with a large amount of competitors, namely pterosaurs and basal birds, who were, in general, much better at getting around, leaving Yi in the dust, or rather, trees, so to speak. Along with its wings, another interesting aspect of Yi is that it's one of the few dinosaurs that we may know the color of, as an electron microscope found the presence of melanosomes, a melanosome that is brownish-black in nature. This color would have helped provide camouflage amongst trees, allowing for easier predation of prey and staying away from danger. Camouflage is surely nifty, but still, no amount of... This next dinosaur could have hidden what made it strange: its teeth. From the outside, it looked fairly normal, being your standard oviraptor who inhabited, surprise, surprise, China during the early Cretaceous. The teeth, though, were anything but normal, and have been likened to dentition found within rodents of all things, leading some to refer to this dinosaur as rat teeth. Similar to rats, it was the front teeth in particular that were abnormal, being flattened and buck-like. Its odd tooth structure confused paleontologists about what its diet could have been. A question further complicated by the debate surrounding oviraptor diets in general. Initially, it was concluded that it had an omnivorous lifestyle. Eventually, though, more detailed examinations of its teeth revealed dental wear patterns that shed more light on the true nature of its diet, showing that in reality, this rodent-like dinosaur was mainly herbivorous. It gets a bit stranger, as analysis on its jaws showed that it wielded these teeth with crazy power, possibly biting down with the same force as a dinosaur 33 times its body size. Seeing that it weighed about 4.5 kilos, 10 pounds, this means that it likely bit with the same force as a dinosaur that would have been 333, so to 150 kilos. It is hypothesized that the strange shape of the teeth and their ridiculous power was the result of insight of a saurus possessing a very peculiar niche, which involved extremely tough vegetation. It's also possible that the immense power was used to occasionally scavenge meat. And with insight of a saurus, this list of strange and relatively obscure dinosaurs is pretty much wrapped up. But there are still more dinosaurs to discover. Another dinosaur I want to mention is Yutyrannus. Unlike other more famous dinosaurs, Yutyrannus may have been somewhat known, but it definitely isn't a household name in mainstream media. Yet, it's undeniably one of a kind, being the largest known dinosaur to have given us direct evidence of feathers. This discovery came not from one, but 3 separate specimens, all of which showed feather imprints on their feet, pelvis, tail, neck, and arms, indicating that these individuals were pretty well covered in feathers. This widespread distribution has led paleontologists to believe that the feathers likely served to help regulate their body temperature, especially given its environment. Yutyrannus inhabited the Yishan Formation during the early Cretaceous, an area with a climate comparable to the temperate forests in Western Canada, and one that was also susceptible to extreme seasonal changes. This has led to the hypothesis that its feathers may have been light in color, aiding camouflage among the trees. With its large size and impressive hunting ability, Yutyrannus would have been capable of hunting a wide range of dinosaurs, including ceratopsians, oviraptors, and even sauropods. And what makes it even more intriguing is that Yutyrannus may have hunted in packs, a rare trait among theropods. And yes, it lived in China, so if you want to see some strange and wacky dinosaurs, China is definitely the place to go. However, the story of Yutyrannus and other strange dinosaurs still holds many mysteries. As we continue to uncover new fossils, what unexpected discoveries await us? Will we find even stranger dinosaurs with traits we can't yet imagine? Stay tuned, because the story of the weird dinosaurs could continue to surprise us. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.